Are we here? Yeah, we're here. Sorry about that. Hold on. I don't need that. Sorry, I just got texted some. Just as I was going live, I got texted by some. I didn't understand what it was. It's a political ad. How did these political people get my text numbers? Anyway, welcome in. It's the High Noon Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. Today, running a little bit late as we do on most days. Just, we'll get on before. If it's past 10, then I try, if it's 10 minutes past the hour, if I'm going to be 10 minutes late, then I'll try and say something on Facebook or whatever. Sorry. Yeah, allergies. And you know why? You know why I got allergies? You know why I'm battling these? It is really flared up. I apologize. We're going to get through the show. As soon as I get rolling, we'll be fine. Allergies are kicking my ass because, I don't know, it was 90 degrees 48 hours ago. It was 90 degrees. 24 hours ago, it was in the high 70s. Yesterday, it got into the 80s. We wake up this morning, it's in the 40s. It's in the 40s. Got the heat, air conditioning. I broke down. I put the air conditioning on. You have to. You have to. If it's 90 degrees in Texas, I don't care if it's February, you got to put the air conditioning on. So we put the air conditioning on. Briefly, anyway. And then you wake up this morning and it's freezing because, the temperature drops 50 degrees overnight. So now I also wake up and I've got all this going on because my body doesn't know how to regulate to the climate. But look, these are my problems. These are not your problems. How are you? Here's another thing I'm dealing with. We're in day 3. Yeah, I know. You want to watch Fat Man die? Here you go. Live stream. More hits than ever. What are you going to do? 3 days. 3 days with no caffeine. That's where I am. 3 days with no caffeine. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. No Coca-Cola. No Coke Zero. No, nothing. I'm drinking. You know what I got in here? I got lemon lime caffeine free 0 calories. There's nothing in here. Except the weird pairing of lemon and lime. Hello, dog. The dog just walked out of the bedroom. Hello, dog. Go lay down. Then you get 2 hours. You get 2 hours before I'm going to get up and let you out. It's very good. The store-bought, the Kroger brand. Lemon lime, 0 calorie. I don't know. It's poor man's 7-Up. Don't stand by the door. I'm sorry. The dog is now standing by the door, trying to make me feel guilty. Like she thinks this is not the time you go out. Go lay down. Come on, baby. Don't do this to me. Oh, if you could just see her. Hold on. Well, maybe you can. No, I don't want to turn this because I turned it last time and I kind of broke it. All right. Never mind. It's okay. Oh, by the way, 4:30 today, I'll be on with James Parker, 93.3 WBAP, James Parker. I'm doing the entertainment report. I don't know. What that means is I'll probably just take shit that I do here and just, I'll recycle it today at 4:30, the James Parker show on WBAP 93.3 and here in Dallas. Don't! The dog is making me feel very guilty. Don't go. Here. This is what I'm dealing with. There you go. Look at her. She's just staring at me. Don't stare at me, dude. There. Now she's looking at the door longingly. Now she's looking back at me. All right, I gotta let her out, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta yeah, get your stretches in. Yeah, you can tell. All right, I gotta let her in. Hold on. I got to do this without breaking it. Sorry about my hand. All right. I got to let her out. What can I tell you? She's just... And then in 20 minutes, I'm going to have to let her back in. Don't worry. We'll get started. We'll get the show rolling. Now I got to deal with that anxiety. What anxiety is that, you ask? Well, if she doesn't bark for the next 2 hours. So I'm going to be doing this stream for the next 2 hours where I'll be giving you all the day's headlines, hot topics, news, hot takes. We're just going to run through all the hot topics, you know. So we're going to do that for about 2 hours, but somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm going to be like, what is the dog getting into? Like, at least when I'm doing the show on a typical day, she's in the next room. I know where she is. And we got to keep a watch out for her. Yeah, this might be an opportunity because she knows I'm busy for 2 hours. She might do some serious digging. She might see an opportunity to go, I got 2 hours of digging. I can. She's a bit of a tunnel rat. All right. I'm sorry. Kind of a weird show, huh? Let's say hi to the chat room. We got Peter in the chat room. Hi, Peter. We got Leslie in the chat room. Hi, Leslie. We got Al in the chat room. We got Adam. Adam's going to Riot Fest. A little jealous. Got to be honest. A little jealous. Let's see here. The show runs on your gratuities. That's another thing we need to mention. So if you are so inclined, you want to drop a little something, drop a little something. That'll help us out. Today, we have an executive producer. We do. Ladies and gentlemen, all hail King Terry. Barney. Thank you so much. Big tipper of the day. He was a big tipper yesterday. He's the only tipper yesterday. That's all right. That's all right. I get it. Some of you people are like paying 5 times what you pay Netflix for this show. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Terry, you're one of them. Terry drops every... Seriously, it's moving. Thank you so much. If you would like to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is be today's biggest tip. Drop a little something there at some point during the show and, find out tomorrow if you are the big tipper. I got bugs. Oh, my God. Do I have any napkins? I got everything's like coming out. I am a bouillabaisse of just genetic inconsistencies. I don't know. Nobody else in my family that I know of. Then again, there's only like 2 people in my family, but nobody else in my family has this allergy thing that I have. No idea where this came from. It sucks. All right. What do we do here on the show? We run down all the day's hot topics, current events, headlines, all the things that people are talking about, all the things that you're getting in emails from crazy ants. I'm going to tell you about it first. I'm not going to do any politics. We don't get into that shit. I don't care if you're blue or red. It doesn't matter. Most of us are somewhere in the middle. And that's what this show is all about. Stop it with your Trump. Stop it with your Biden. Ugh, well, so gross. What we do here is we give you 4 distinct quarters. We call them quarters. They're segments. Quarter 1, we call antecedently on this day. It's a little rundown of all the day's history, things that have happened on this day, just little nuggets, and not even like the ones that you might be expecting, just the ones that I find interesting and that I can rant on for a couple of seconds. That's quarter 1. Quarter 2 is birthdays. You know what that is. Quarter 3, that's deads. That's where we take people who have died on this day, celebrities, notable quotables, if you will. We look at them, we open up their life's resume, and we decide whether or not, based on our own understanding of the Christian Judeo ethics of what gets you into heaven and hell, where'd they go? Fourth quarter is all the day's news, all the day's headlines, all the hot topics, everything people are talking about. That's where you get me. That's where I get the rant. That's where I start going. I don't spend too much time on any one subject. We move on to the next. Again, we try not to be divisive, but look at me. I'm pretty goddamn divisive. Just sitting here, I'm pretty divisive. Battling these allergies, man. This is going to be a real problem. What's the weather going to be like now? I don't think I prepared weather in today's rundown of events. So let me see what we're dealing with. It's 44 degrees currently. 44 degrees. It's 44. It was like 80. It was 94 degrees 2 days ago. Or so they said. I don't remember it actually being 94 here in North Texas. We are in Dallas. I don't remember it being 94. I remember looking at my thing and going 89, but then I didn't look at it again, so it may have gone up. It's 49 degrees currently. Oh, God. It's going to get up to a high of 50. That's fine. That's fine. That's actually fine. The only reason I'm complaining about it being in the 40s now is because it was in the 80s and 90s for the past 2 days. It's weird. You can't even wear the same clothes. It's like, Okay, I guess I can wear sweatshirts again. Oh, cool, though. It's going to be 85 on Sunday. All right, so whatever this is just a hiccup in my allergies. We'll go nuts again in a couple of days when it's 90 on Sunday. All right, let's get started. It's the High Noon Rant with me, Pugs Moran. It is the 27th day of... It's the 2020. Sorry. Oh, you signed me out? Google, you son of a... You. Oh, verify it's me? I've only been working on this platform now for a consistent 4 or 5 hours, but sure. I'll sign in again. Okay, I think that's it. Watch it not be. I'm hearing the dog bark. You guys hearing the dog bark? I'm wondering if that's going to pick it up. She's got a squirrel in her sights. It's the 28th day of February. It's not the 27th. I looked at... why isn't it signing me in? Hold on. It's spinning. You know these things go. There we go. There we go. February 28th is the 59th day of the year. 306 days remain until the end of the year. But no, that's not true. There's 307 days because it's a leap year. That's right, tomorrow. Oh, big leap year celebration on the show tomorrow. I think it's going to be a shorter show. I think it's going to be a shorter show tomorrow because I don't think we're going to spend nearly the amount of time we do on antecedently on this day or birthdays or deaths because, leap year only happens once every 7 years. No, I know it's not 7. 7 is what dogs get. Dogs get like 7 years to every one. Right? If your dog's 2, you're like, well, he's 14 in people years. That's not leap years. Leap years are 4. So, it's a quarter less. 4, whatever. You know what I'm saying. All right, let's get started. This is so stupid. I feel like I took those crazy. I'm not on any caffeine. And you're wondering, you're like, Pugs, what's going on with you? I'm not on any caffeine because I'm not doing caffeine. As a matter of fact, decaf. Can't really tell the difference, to be honest. Well, I mean, I guess I can tell the difference when the headaches set in because they don't have caffeine and my body's addicted to caffeine. But taste-wise, it's black coffee. It's hot. It's black. It tastes bad. That's not a difference. But I did take my allergy medication that I typically don't take. And I thought maybe I could take this today because I'm not taking caffeine because there's a bunch of caffeine in the allergy medication. So I am on caffeine. So maybe that's what's happening right here. I don't know. Spinning out a little. We'll hold it together. I've battled through worse. Adderall. No, I've never taken Adderall. I think I took one of those millennial drugs once, and I painted my room. Yeah, I've never painted a room. And I painted a room. I redid all the furniture. That was crazy. Whatever that was that I took, it was like, something like millennial kids take to study, or I don't know what it is. I missed all that. I was Gen X. They didn't care. They just said, you're stupid, and put us in a room at the end of the hall, right? We didn't have Adderall or anything like that. We had a rubberhead room. That's what we called it, the rubberhead room, where they put all the kids that were dumb. Are you down there by the rubberhead room? Now, millennials, they got pills. Millennials got pills, and they got the dial in. Never took that stuff. All right, this show is performed as a stream of consciousness. If you haven't noticed, what I try to do without stops, without interruptions, without breaks, although the dog is going to bark at some point, so it doesn't really hold true for today's show. But this is an ungoverned, unfiltered look at everything. Let's get started. Segment 1, quarter 1. We call it antecedently on this day, just a pretentious way of saying on this day in history. Here we go. Antecedently on this day in 1844. A gun explodes on board the steam warship USS Princeton during a play. This story is bonkers. Like, I want to see this depicted. Like, I want to see that, like, there should be, I've never seen this in a movie. I've never seen this retold in a history special. So the president of the United States and all of his, like, cabinet members, they go on a pleasure cruise down the Potomac River. They're on board this boat, the USS Princeton. The president of the United States on this day in 1844, they're just like, yeah, like a booze cruise or something, I don't know, with the president, and something explodes on the boat, and like everybody dies except the president. President didn't die. He was safe. And everybody didn't die. But a lot of people died. The Secretary of State of the United States was killed. A gun explodes on board the steam warship USS Princeton during a pleasure cruise down the Potomac, killing 6, including Secretary of State Abel Upshur. President John Tyler, who was on board, was not injured by the blast. That's a crazy story. I mean, just an accident too. Like I clicked on it. They antecedently on this day. Oh God, I can't do this one. I debated even mentioning this. And then I go into it with antecedently on this day. I go into it all up. Yeah, a school bus in Canada went off a cliff on this day in 1958. You don't need the detail. Just whatever the worst you're thinking is what happened. Antecedently on this day in 1966. Oh God, here's another one. NASA. This is a sad one. T-38 Talon crashes into the McDonnell aircraft factory while attempting a poor visibility landing at Lambert Field in St. Louis. Killed Elliot C. and Charles Bassett. 2 astronauts, two of our finest. They were like in this badass like fighter jet, just cruising around because they're badass astronauts. I don't know what they were doing. I think they were returning from some kind of a trip, but yeah, they crashed. Terrible, terrible loss to NASA. Elliot C. and Charlie Bassett dead on this day in 1966. Didn't die. Astronauts who didn't die in like a training mission, although they were training when this occurred. They just weren't like in a spaceship. They didn't. On this day in 1983, the final episode of MASH airs with almost 110 million viewers. I don't know, there's some dude making cheese sandwiches on YouTube that gets that in an hour. But, it was a big deal back when MASH did it. MASH. I like the MASH movie. Like the movie MASH is a good movie. It's crazy. It's kind of bonkers, kind of fun. There's a silly football game. I like it. The TV show I never really got into. And I don't know why. I think maybe it was too grown up for me because I was a kid most of the time. I mean, MASH went off the air. The last episode was on this day in 83. So I was 13 years old when it went off the air. Started in like 19. It was just always on, and it was always something grown-ups watched. And it was always, something that I'd be like, can we change the channel? I wasn't really into it. And then all the reruns, I never even got into the reruns. I don't know. Maybe MASH is good. I am quite familiar with it. Know all the characters, have seen probably hundreds of episodes. It's not like, well, you never watched it. I'm like, it was everywhere. MASH was everywhere. I was never a MASH kid. It was more Mork and Mindy, Starsky and Hutch, that kind of stuff. Dukes of Hazzard. That was my jam. All right. On this day in 1983, final episode of MASH. On this day in 1986, Olof Palme. Dude's name was Olof Palme. He's 26th Prime Minister of Sweden. He was assassinated in Stockholm, Sweden on this day in 1986. The 80s getting nuts. Killing Swedish presidents, prime ministers, whatever, same thing. What's that about? What's that? Why? What are you wasting bullets for? See, here's a problem though. I'm like thinking, see, what I'm doing is I'm doing what I always do. I've done this my whole life, and I don't know why I do it. A lot of people do it with Austria and Australia, which I don't get because in my mind, Australia is way over here and Austria is here. So how can you confuse the two? But I always confuse Sweden with Switzerland. And I know they're not even right next to each other, but they're both like skiing, right? Skiing and snow. And Switzerland is like the peaceful one, right? Switzerland is the one, we don't get involved, right? So that's not Sweden. So maybe the Sweden prime minister had an enemy. I don't know. Whatever. Happened on this day. The 80s got crazy. They killed the Olof Palme, the prime minister of Sweden. On this day in 1993, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, they did a raid. Branch Davidians. That's right. It was on this day they served David Koresh with a warrant. 51-day standoff. Wonder how that all resolved itself. Antecedently on this day in 2013, Pope Benedict resigns as you know what? I got to be honest. It's Pope Benedict, and then it's a whole bunch of Roman numerals. And I looked at the Roman numerals, and I went, nah, I don't want to look stupid because I'm totally going to get that wrong, even though I'm looking at it now and it's 16. It's easily 16. I get, do you guys get like intellectually humbled when you see Roman numerals? I do. And I know Latin. I mean, I know it's Catholic school. I know some Latin. I can function with some Latin. I understand the origins and all that. But Roman numerals, I know them, but they're the kind of thing I got to look at. I go, okay, wait, I got to look at this. Wait a second. Okay, so that's an X, that's a V, and that's one that's 16. That's like, I can't just look at it and rattle it off. So I get a little bit intimidated. Anyway, the Pope retired on this day, which is something popes typically don't do. Popes, they not since like the 1400s had a pope retired. But we got this guy. Is he still alive? Hold on, is Pope Benedict? He is, right? We've had two popes. And he's like living in a guest house. Hey, look at that, just like me. Pope Benedict is like living in the Vatican, in like a guest house. Wait, is he alive? Nah, he's dead. Oh, he died. Yeah, Joe Ratzinger. That's right. He died December of 2022. All right, there you go. I don't know. You probably went to hell. If we were putting him in hell, heaven or hell, right? Popes, I think all popes go to hell, just for being so sure. What else do we have? That's it. That's going to do it. That's antecedently on this day. Let's move into the birthdays. Quarter 2. Here we go. They say it's their birthday, and I have no way of proving that it's not. Born on this day in 1906. How about a happy birthday to Bugsy? Don't call him Bugsy. Benjamin Siegel. That's right. Gangsta. Mother Incorporated. Bugsy Siegel. Bugsy Siegel was so hot. Okay, so first of all, the name Bugsy, you don't call him Bugsy, okay? His name is Ben. Call him Ben, you call him Mr. Siegel. That's probably what you should call him, but people's like, yeah, so I was out with Bugsy. The only way to really meet Bugsy Siegel is to call him Bugsy. Yeah, that's why. And why was he called Bugsy? Because he was a psychopath. He was a psychopath. He had no qualms about killing, murdering. He was a psychopath. And so Bugs Bunny was very popular at the time. And Bugs Bunny was seen as kind of a psychopath too. Kind of like nuts. Bugs. He's Bugs. That was terminology in the time for being a little crazy. Happy birthday, born on this day. Bugsy Siegel built Las Vegas. At least that's what he gets credit for. He opened the first resort that attracted, the mob and celebrities and all that. Bugsy Siegel. Don't call him Bugsy. Benjamin Siegel. Born on this day in 1931. Here you go. Here's a dude that we all need to just take a moment and go, yeah, okay, good for you. He didn't need more. He got what he got. He was happy. And look at him. Years after he died, he's been dead a while, right? Oh, he's only been dead 2 years. Oh, well. Gavin MacLeod, happy birthday. He did it right. He's an actor. He's a gigging actor in Hollywood. He ain't going to be Cary Grant. He ain't a leading man. He ain't particularly interesting. He's just kind of glue. He's a character actor, a glue guy. So what's he do? He lands 2 spots. One on Mary Tyler Moore. The other is Captain Steubing. The dude is iconic. Good for you, Gavin MacLeod. You don't need to be Dustin Hoffman. You could be Gavin MacLeod and be very happy with your life. Gavin MacLeod, born on this day in 1931. Born on this day in 1939, Tommy Tune. Tommy Tune's a choreographer. Tommy Tune, I'm mentioning him because I'm rewatching Arrested Development. Or actually, that's not true. I'm not rewatching Arrested Development. I'm watching the later couple of seasons that I don't really remember watching. The ones that were produced for Netflix. Tommy Tune, he plays Lucille Austero's brother. Who's Lucille Austero is, of course, Liza Minnelli. So it's Liza Minnelli and Tommy Tune, his brother and sister, on Arrested Development. He's very funny. He's very violent. He's very flamboyantly gay. That's obvious. But Tommy Tune is a famous choreographer. He's always been that way. So he's Tommy Tune. He's like that. But he's also very violent in Arrested Development, which is funny. Moving forward, born on this day in 1940, Mario Andretti. Vroom, vroom. One of the greats. Ohio's own. People are like, he's an Italian. He's Italian. He's Italian-American. He's from Ohio. He's an Ohio kid. Mario Andretti, the Andretti racing family. I don't know if there's a bigger name in American racing than the Andretti racing family. Born on this day in 1940. Born on this day in 1942, Brian Jones. Brian Jones. Now, this is a guy that's interesting. These we delve into these alternative histories. How about this alternative history? Brian Jones, of course, was the leader, the founder, the boss of the Rolling Stones. And then he died. And then Mick and Keith took over. What if Brian Jones hadn't died? Like, what would the Rolling Stones be? Would Mick and Keith have eventually emerged just because? How do you keep that down? I mean, they were obviously really good together. But up until the point that Brian Jones had died, Brian Jones had been the driving force in the band. He was the de facto leader. Mick and Keith were just, guys who played in Brian Jones's band. There you go. Brian Jones, born on this day in 1942. English guitarist, songwriter, and producer. Died in 1969. Born on this day in 1948. Here's a name from the past. Here's a Gen X icon. Is she a Gen X icon? She's not Gen X. She's a baby boomer. But when Gen X were kids, she was everywhere, man. She's the dog now. What's okay? All right. She was everywhere. I'll leave you with that. I'm not even going to tell you who it is. You can think about it. She was born on this day. Yeah, it's a she. 1948. She was everywhere, man. She was everywhere, and then she was nowhere. And you ain't seen her in 25, 30 years. All right, we're talking about the delightful Bernadette Peters. Yay. Bernadette Peters. It's her birthday. Remember when she was everywhere in the 70s, man? You couldn't put on the TV without her popping up on Tonight Show, Love Boat, whatever. She was everywhere. Game shows, variety shows. She'd just come out and dance. I don't even know what she did. She was kind of like an American Pia Zadora, right? She existed in a time when you could be famous and they'd be like if she was on the Fallon show, like if Jimmy Fallon was doing his show, it'd be like, all right, my next guest is Bernadette Peters. And then Bernadette Peters would come out. Imagine this, she would come out. She wouldn't just walk to the desk or do stand-up comedy or sing a song. She'd dance. Just like dance for like a few minutes. That was TV in the 70s. It's like, and not like Ellen ironically dancing. No, like a dance number and be like, oh, it's weird. She was everywhere. She did when Steve Martin started to explode, when Steve Martin became, they were like, Steve Martin's gonna be a movie star. We gotta put him in a whole bunch of movies. They teamed him with Bernadette Peters, and it was great teaming. They were great together. And as you know, I don't know what happened, but then eventually Steve Martin started, I guess Steve Martin left her for Martin Short. And then Steve Martin started doing movies with Martin Short, and Bernadette Peters was not in. I don't know why Bernadette Peters didn't play the mother role in Father of the Bride. Oh, yeah, because Diane Keaton wanted it, and she's a much bigger star. There you go. I bet you that's what happened. I bet you that's what happened to Bernadette Peters' career. Her career, she was tethered to Steve Martin. And then all of a sudden, Steve Martin does Father of the Bride, and it's Diane Keaton and not Bernadette Peters. I bet you that pissed her off. Anyway, I like Bernadette Peters. Remember with the curly hair? I mean, I don't remember being attracted to her as a kid. Like, it wasn't that. It wasn't, although I was looking at some pictures of her today, and I'm like, why wasn't I attracted to that? I could see how people were attracted to that, although I didn't really notice it back then. Bernadette Peters, born on this day in 1948. Bet you didn't think somebody was going to be able to do about a 5-minute rant on Bernadette Peters when you woke up this morning, but here we are. Born on this day in 1955. Happy birthday to Gilbert Gottfried. Oh, we lost Gilbert Gottfried. He was funny. He was good. Who else? Byron says Bernadette Peters was good with Tim Curry and Annie. I never saw that. He says she was a legend of the stage. Yeah, she is. She's Broadway, but I'm not pretending that most people know about Broadway. But yeah, she's a Broadway chick. She's been on Broadway. She wins a bunch of Tonys and stuff. In fact, I believe she's considered to be the grand dame of, I don't know, something like Gilbert and Sullivan plays or Sondheim play. I don't know what she is. She's very famous on Broadway. But she hasn't been doing movies. And my point stands. When I was 12 years old, she was everywhere. And now she's like nowhere. And by the way, looked at some pictures of her, some fairly recent pictures of her. She looks the same. She's got the same hair. She's a Bernadette Peters. All right, Gilbert Gottfried. Sir, we're talking about Gilbert Gottfried. Great documentary special. Documentary special? Why did I say special? Great documentary on the life of Gilbert Gottfried. It's just simply called Gilbert. If you have a chance to see it, it's unbelievable. A couple of years before his untimely passing. And it showed a side of Gilbert Gottfried that is just, I mean, if you like Gilbert, if you thought he was funny, if you were a fan of his work with the Howard Stern Show or any of his 30 years in comedy, he was an enigma, because there's no way that person, that individual is, standing in line for coffee at Starbucks, right? So that's why this documentary on Gilbert Gottfried was so fascinating, because it showed him what he was like standing in line for coffee at Starbucks. He was a completely different person, like a sweet, kind, normal, talks normal. Everything isn't like he doesn't talk like that. He talks normal. He's got a beautiful wife, and he had little kids, and he takes his kids to school. Oh, it's just such a great documentary, which is why it was so much more heartbreaking when he passed away so suddenly. It was like, whoa, wait a second, but he's got a nice young family. I think he left a lot of money, though. I think he left a lot of money, because it appears, and as everyone kept saying throughout the course of this thing, that Gilbert made boatloads of money for 30 years. He made 20 grand a weekend every weekend for 30 years, and he never spent any of it. So hopefully his family's taken care of. Born on this day in 1957, the great John Turturro, one of the greats. John Turturro is one of the greats. If there is a role and John Turturro is playing it, that role is going to be a home run. That dude is awesome in everything. John Turturro. My favorite. You want to know my favorite thing that John Turturro ever did? Well, actually, two of them. Sports pictures. He played Howard Cosell in a movie about Monday Night Football. That was one of these ESPN films. He played Howard Cosell. He was incredible. And then he also played Billy Martin in a story about Billy versus Reggie Jackson with the Yankees. About 15 years ago, ESPN was making sports movies, and they were airing them on ESPN. It was a thing. Anyway, these are two totally forgotten but really good sports movies about historical things that happened. John Turturro was amazing at both of them. That's not to say that that's all he does. No, John Turturro, you can just go pick through his filmography and you'll find any number of movies that deserve to have been Oscar-winning roles. He's amazing. Happy birthday, John Turturro. But I liked him as Howard Cosell and Billy Martin. Born on this day in 1957, Cindy Wilson. I like Cindy Wilson. Cindy Wilson is one of the singers in the B-52s. She's not Kate Pearson. Everybody seems to know Kate Pearson because of the fiery red hair and the roam if you want to. But that's not her. Cindy's a drummer. She's the blonde. She's also an incredible singer. Both of those girls in the B-52s. Happy birthday, Cindy Wilson of the B-52s. Born on this day in 1957. Couple of basketball ones, one for me, one for you. Well, actually, one for me, one for us. The first one you don't care about, although maybe you do if you're a Texas A&M person, because Alex Caruso for my Chicago Bulls celebrating a birthday today. I love Alex Caruso, man. That dude has quickly become like just a lunch pail dude. People in Chicago just adore Alex Caruso and the way he plays basketball. It started out Texas A&M. He's the scrappy white boy. That's what everybody calls him. That is a scrappy white boy. Alex Caruso, born on this day in 1994. I love him. Every team would love him. He's moving on. LeBron James. LeBron James says he's one of his favorite teammates of all time. LeBron James was actually really pissed off when he got traded. Didn't want him to be traded, but Anyway, Alex Caruso. He seems like a good dude too, a good kid. Born on this day in 1994. Born on this day in 1999. Okay, let's not bury the lead. It's Luka Day. Happy birthday, Luka. 25 years old, Luka Doncic. Is he going to win his an MVP this year? I don't know, man. I here's the problem. Luka could win MVP. Look, the season's not over, and of course, anything can happen. And the Mavs are, I don't know what the Mavs are exactly, but exciting nonetheless. People don't like Luka. That's a real problem. Here in Dallas, we're in a bubble. We all love Luka. People don't like Luka. National press don't like Luka. They will talk about how great he is and how exciting he is and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to giving him actual personal accolades, I think that his accumulative behavior in the eyes of NBA fans, NBA media, and NBA sports writers across the league, I think that's going to look. All I know is that I listen to a lot of national sports talk. Right. I don't really listen to any local Dallas sports talk. I listen to Chicago sports talk. I listen to the Fan in New York. And then I listen to the Nationals, the Cowards, and stuff like that. And admittedly, most of that stuff is YouTube stuff, right? Watching it while it's on in the background, listening to it while I'm working on other things. Luka is not well liked. And I hate that for him. I hate it because he's good. And I want Luka to win an MVP. But I think that's the kind of stuff that's going to affect him. That's unfortunately. Adam says, people in the Midwest like a scrappy white player. Who doesn't like a scrappy white player? Who? Seriously, tell me what team doesn't find it hilarious when, a scrappy white kid is playing. That's just the world. I don't think it's a Midwestern thing. He was loved at Texas A&M. Texas A&M loved the scrappy little white players. Give me this Midwest. He's saying that the Midwesterners are racist, and he's right. But I think everybody. I think they're in the region in this country where you wouldn't be right if you said that about certain people. All right, there you go. That's birthdays. We can be done with the birthdays. Luka, smile more. Luka, smile more. Don't complain so much. And be aware of when you're on the national games. When you're on the national games, that's when you got to smile more. That's when you got to be Mr. Nice. Oh, hold on. That was James Parker. James Parker, who knows full well. By the way, I'll be on James Parker's show today at 3:30. WBAP 93.3. James Parker interrupting my show. Says, got a topic? Well, he wants to know what I'm gonna have to let him know too. I'll let him know at 2:00. We'll let him know when we sign off with this show. I don't know. Texas Rangers fans love scrappy white guys. Well, I think with the proven athletic superiority of the black man, I think that there's some truth to what Adam is saying. I think that every time that you see a white man who we all know is physically and athletically inferior to the black man, we all know this. This has been proven. So whenever we see a white man out there, especially in basketball, I think that there's an added glow of, oh, look at him overachieving. That's what it is. It's an underdog thing. Frank says WBAP 820 93.3 at 3:30 p.m. Yeah. Adam calls it Bill Bates syndrome. All right, let's get into the deads. Here are the people who have died. These are the people who have died on this day. Let's talk about them a little bit. I'll tell you why they're notable, why we remember them, and then we'll decide whether they go to heaven or hell. How about 1977, dead on this day, Eddie Rochester Anderson, American actor and comedian. He was born in 1905. He was famous because he was the black guy on TV. Yep, that's him. He was the black guy on TV. He was Rochester. Rochester was Jack Benny's servant, and he was on TV, and people loved him because he seemed I don't know what his deal was. I honestly do not know what his deal was. I've never seen the Jack Benny show. I mean, I've seen retrospects of this is the past 50 years of TV, and I've seen clips, so I know he was the black guy. He was the black guy on TV. Rochester, he probably put up with a lot of shit. I'm going to put him in heaven. I don't know if he was funny. It says American actor and comedian. Was he funny? Did he have barbs that he shot back at old Jack Benny? Who was Jack? Jack Benny is not Henny Youngman. That's Henny Youngman is the guy with the violin that was like, take my wife, please. That's Henny Youngman. Jack Benny was, I don't know what Jack Benny was. Well, I do know what Jack Benny was. Jack Benny was a guy standing close to a camera when they said, hey, we're going to turn this on. Anybody want to be famous? That's who Jack Benny was. I have no idea whether that dude deserves to be an icon, but he is. Yeah, for all of that, we're going to put Rochester in heaven. Why not? I know nothing about him. I have no malice towards him. I imagine he put up with some shit. Dead on this day in 2009, another guy I'm going to preemptively put in heaven because I wouldn't say I got to know him, but I met him a couple of times, and he was very nice, and I got to know his son pretty well. Dead on this day in 2009, the great Paul Harvey. He's going to heaven. Paul Harvey was a man, even at like 18 years old, I looked at what Paul Harvey had done with his career, and I went, now that is the rest of the story. Paul Harvey figured out a way to become like the highest paid person in radio. He's the highest paid person in radio for like 30 years. He was nationally syndicated back when there was no such thing as national syndication. They used to just like airmail his tapes to stations around the country. And he only worked like 5 minutes a day. He did these little segments called The Rest of the Story that were syndicated on radio stations across the country. Did them from his studio there in Tribune Tower on Michigan Avenue, which is how I got to know the guy. When he retired, he had years and years and years of tapes and stuff to go through. So Paul Harvey and his son put out a call in Chicago to all like radio producers and interns and, you know, just kids that wanted to get, if they wanted to come help sort through this stuff, they'd be meeting every Saturday. So me and another producer at the Loop radio station I was at, we went down there and we started working with them. We started going through the tapes and we started listening, and Paul was there and he brought pizza and he talked to us. It was awesome. He was such a nice man. Rich Hall, you might remember, imitated him on Saturday Night Live. He used to do that. And Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. He died on this day. He's in heaven. He was awesome. His ability to tell a story. You remember how he did it? I don't know if you remember how he did it. He would start telling a story and he'd be like, and it'd be a great story and he'd be totally into the story. And then he'd get to a point in the story where he would just stop. And there'd be a commercial. You'd sit through the fucking commercial, and that one commercial was his one sponsor, and that MFer, they paid him whatever, you know. And then that commercial would end, and he'd come back and he'd go, and now the rest of the story. And it was always mind-blowing. Whatever the rest of the story was, it totally topped over it. He was just a master. Paul Harvey, he was so great. Born in 1918, dead on this day in 2009. What a hero. Just just the way he wrote, the way he used words. Oh my God, Paul Harvey. All right, born on this day. I don't know when he was born. He was born at some point and he died on this day, Paul Harvey. I'm getting misty. I love that old guy. Dead on this day in 2016. Here's another old dude that I liked. One of my favorite scenes in a movie of all time ever. Still makes me laugh. It's from Airport. Remember Airport? Remember the movie Airport about the plane? There was a whole bunch of it. There was Airport 77, Airport. There were all these different airport movies. Well, like George Kennedy. We're talking about George Kennedy, the great George Kennedy. He died on this day in 2016. I'm putting him in heaven. One of the funniest scenes, and I always remember this, is like there's a blizzard. There's an absolute blizzard. And the airport is swamped. And they got a plane coming in and it's trying to land. And George Kennedy is out there on like a riding mower. And he's like, rah, and he's fighting it. It's just like, it was just the quintessential George Kennedy. It's like, George Kennedy, screw it, I'll do it. Like, that's George Kennedy. He's just going to do it. That dude was awesome. And then he spent the last 10 years of his life doing commercials late at night for bad breath, which also seemed appropriate. George Kennedy, but he's got bad breath. All right, that's going to do it. That's quarter one, quarter two, and quarter three. Now it's time for us to get into all of the things that are trending today. I will remind you again, this show runs on your gratuities. We need your help this month. We got one more day. We ain't going to make it. You know that's going to happen. So we're going to press hard over the next couple of days. Today, no, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling like I need to press. I need to press. We need all the tips we can get. So help the show out if you can. Drop a little something. Let's get into all the things that people are talking about today. First and foremost, Michigan, they had a primary. Biden won. Trump won. Moving on, because nobody cares. Also in big presidential news that nobody cares about, Biden had a physical today. I'm sure we're going to hear that he's in tip-top physical condition. He's going to go rock climbing. Also, big news today out of Washington. Congress, boy, they are putting the screws to it, huh? They got 3 days left until a partial shutdown. It's partial this time because they can't agree on anything. Who knows? I don't know. I hate doing these stories, right? Because, you know, here, I'm going to say it. Ready? Kick the can. That's the terminology that they use. I don't even know what this means. So if we just kick the can in perpetuity, we're going to be fine. We'll just be fine. We'll just keep kicking the can. I mean, at some point, do we come up against a wall? Well, we can't kick the can anymore, but we can because we're America and we have nukes. So shut up. We'll be fine. Just go ahead, kick the can. People, you bunch of idiots, can't agree on anything. Moving on. Navalny over there in Russia. Let's jump over to Russia. Navalny is trending because his funeral has been announced for Friday. It will be a public funeral in Moscow, and who batten down the hatches? Let's see what happens there. Could be fascinating. That's on Friday. So I'm certain that there will be no other news reported on Friday. It will be wall-to-wall cable news coverage of the Navalny funeral. Although maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. Like, this isn't a state funeral. It's not like he wasn't a state guy. And I would think that any leader of a country that would want to attend this funeral, how you do that? You got to call the Kremlin. You got to go, hey, Putin, I want to go cry over the grave of the guy who hated you, that you killed. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't care that much. We'll move on. Here's something I care about because this encroaching on us here. These panhandle fires. Are you seeing this here in North Texas? Now, we like to jokingly call ourselves here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area North Texans. We aren't North Texans. These people are North Texans. Hell, the place where these panhandle fires are happening right now, this place is so far north, it's called Canadian Texas. Have you ever heard of Canadian Texas? That's the name of the town. Canadian is the name of the town, not Canada, Texas. It's called Canadian Texas. That's the town that's in the most danger of having any kind of real widespread damage. But these fires are out of control, man. Is this early? This feels very early. Like, living here in Texas all the years that I have, we have wildfires. They happen every year, and we're used to them, and we expect them. But February? And again, I'm not insinuating anything by going, that just seems weird. It's everything about the weather the last couple of weeks has seemed very weird. You know why? I think weather is weird. I think that's what it is. I think weather is weird. It's always been weird. It's always been like, one day it's cold, the next day it's hot. Wildfires grow into the second largest in Texas history as flames menace multiple small towns. Dateline, Canadian Texas. By the way, when I do that, Dateline, that's Paul Harvey. I'm imitating Paul Harvey. So you've probably heard me do that a bunch. Dateline, Canadian Texas. A fast-moving wildfire burning through the Texas Panhandle grew into the second largest blaze in state history Wednesday, forcing evacuations and triggering power outages as firefighters struggled to contain the widening flames. The sprawling blaze was part of a cluster of fires that burned out of control. Here, let's pull this up. You can see where the actual fires are. Let's see, Canadian Texas. They're all over the place up here. Okay. Google does that thing now where whenever there's something big that's occurring in a certain place, like a shooting or something, they'll drop this is a site of a ongoing News event. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. This is that's the town of Canadian, Texas. Let's see if we pull out. Huh. Why isn't Google giving us? So this is where all the fires are. The fires are here. They're out here. We're also down here. Maybe if I pull out more. Oh, okay. Well, here's one way out here. Smokehouse Creek fire. Let's see. There's multiple fires. Like, that's not the only fire. Why is that the only one they got listed? Maybe my thing's not right. My connection. Maybe it's my connection. All right. Anyway, that's the town. I've never heard of Canadian, Texas. Maybe some of you have. Maybe some of you are from Canadian, Texas. I am unfamiliar, but big wildfires. Keep you updated. What else do we have here? Oh, this is interesting. There was a poll. Oh, let me get rid of this. Sorry, there we go. All right. An interesting poll concerning the subject of free speech was done, according to a new poll from the Foundation for Individual Rights. Okay, and it sounds like a sketchy organization. So right there, red flag in this poll. Okay. But it was interesting because it has to deal with our understanding of what free speech is and what free speech means. According to a new poll from the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expressions, a First Amendment organization, nearly a third of Americans, including a similar number of Republicans and Democrats, so just a third of Americans, not broken down by party, but same percentage of Republicans and Democrats feel the same way. A third of Americans say that the First Amendment goes too far in the rights that it guarantees. More than half agree that their local community should not allow a public speech that espouses a belief that they find particularly offensive. And isn't that the problem with free speech, right? Everybody's for it until you're hearing something you disagree with. Then you're not against free speech. See, this is where principles come in. So you have to have principles to truly have an understanding of what our rights are. If you're not principled, then yeah, this is great. I hate what that guy's saying. Let's shut him down. I hate free speech. And then you get up and you say, we should kill all the people who say things I don't like. And then you get arrested and you're like, what about my free speech? See, we talked about it the other day, how it's, the First Amendment and the whole thing. Congress shall make no laws. People are like, Coca-Cola, you're violating my free. Coca-Cola can't violate your free. Coca-Cola can't guarantee you any rights to free speech. Coca-Cola is against the First Amendment. This is a story yesterday about Coca-Cola censoring its timeline on something that it's branding. I don't know what it is, but the government. It's about the government. So and again, let's not get freaky. It's only 1/3 of idiots. It's like only 1/3. This is 1/3 of people think the First Amendment goes too far in protecting the rights of individuals and what they have to say. It's only 1/3. Okay, 2/3 are out there going, no, First Amendment's fine. First Amendment is. Let's see here. But it is so funny that even the people in this poll, they're admitting that yes, well, I don't like it when it's something that I don't like. More than half agree that their local community should not allow public speech that espouses a belief that they find particularly offensive. Those results were disappointing, but not exactly surprising, said Chief Research Advisor Sean Stevens. Here at FIRE is the name of the organization. Here at FIRE, we've long observed that many people who say they're concerned about free speech waivers when it comes to beliefs they personally find offensive. But the best way to protect your speech is the future. Okay, so yeah, we know it. People are hypocrites. That's what we found out. The new free speech poll found out that people are inherently hypocritical. Here's another fun story. Female psychopaths. Guess what they found out? Something that men have known forever, but somehow the scientific world has refused to embrace. That is, it has widely been, sort of settled science, if you will, within the psychiatric community that men are far. If you're a psychopath, you're probably a man. Women aren't psychopaths. That's basically been. Now, there are certainly exceptions to this, but for the most part, they say that that men are, I don't know, 10 times more likely to be a psychopath than a woman. Okay. So there's a new study. Where was this study done? Well, anyway, this new study says that's all BS, and that, because of certain cultural things, we disregard female psychotic behavior because of the position that women are in society and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this study says there are 5 times more female psychopaths out there than science probably is willing to acknowledge. Here's the story. Cambridge. Oh, this came from Cambridge. So this isn't one of them, so it's a fancy college. Cambridge. While the word psychopath usually conjures up images of a knife-wielding attackers and masked assailants for most, not all psychopaths are serial killers. The vast majority simply blend in with the rest of society, all the while masking their cold and calculating true nature. Now, new research set for presentation at Cambridge may just disprove yet another psychopathic falsity. Most depictions and popular examples of psychopaths in the media are male, but the study argues female psychopaths are up to 5 times more common than is currently believed. Dr. Clive Bodie, he's the guy behind this. He just got broken up by some crazy bitch. Some crazy chick just broke his heart, and it's influenced his research. Dr. Clive Bodie, an expert in corporate psychopath. Okay, that's a big word, and I jumped right into it, and I wasn't prepared. So let's try that again. Dr. Clive Bodie, an expert in corporate psychopathy. It's psychopathy. That's what it is. Dr. Clive Bodie, an expert in corporate psychopathy from Anglican Ruskin University, is set to present his findings at Cambridge. While current estimates tell us male psychopaths outnumber females by roughly 6 to 1, Dr. Bodie believes prior studies have failed to properly identify female psychopaths. This is in large part due to solely basing profiles around criminals and male psychopaths. I don't know what that means. Dr. Bodie posits the characteristics of female psychopaths are quite different from males. Yeah, all right. Now we're getting into something. Yeah, crazy. Way more passive. Ooh, they really know how to get into your head. Way better than men. Men will get into your head using an axe. A woman psychopath will get into your head using all kinds of things. Dr. Bodie posits the characteristics of female psychopaths are quite different from males. He also notes gender bias likely plays a role in the underreporting, as society tends to ignore perceived male traits when they're displayed by women. According to his latest research, the real ratio of male-female psychopathy, God, that's a hard word. Anyway, we'll move on. But isn't that fun? Some smart psychiatrist dude who's going to be doing a big thing at Cambridge is saying that women are way more crazy than we're actually saying, and dangerous. How about this? Apple cars. Remember there's a whole big thing a couple of years ago. Apple's getting into cars. Oh no, here we go. Apple's going to take over the car industry. Yeah, Apple is discontinuing their Apple car venture. They're gonna move on. They do not see the future that they once saw in the electric self-driving Apple car that I don't know what you control with your phone. I have no idea. But Apple is getting out of the car business. That's why Apple is trending today. Elon Musk in the car business, just lying. What is this about? Elon Musk just lying. How does he do this? How is this not illegal? Because I can't imagine that his stock price didn't rise the minute he put this out on Twitter, the platform he owns. All right. It's a lie. It's a complete lie. And everybody is like, huh? But enough people are going to believe it's probably been retweeted 21 billion times by now. And it's a lie. It is not possibly true. I will eat my hat if this is true. Just doesn't seem possible. So Elon Musk is trending today because Elon Musk is talking about his new electric Tesla Roadster, which is he hopes to compete with supercars. Again, The reason that the electric vehicle market is having so much difficulty is because it is still primarily focused on fucking rich people. All right. And rich people are all going to buy these things. I see them when I walk around this neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood of rich people. I see them. Every single one of these people have a Tesla or some kind of electric car, and it freaking sits in their garage. And that's who's buying these things. Rich people, because they're fairly expensive cars. And when you're a middle class, working class, tax paying American, you can't just pay a premium for the new car because you got a kid, you got two kids that need to go to college. So you're going to get the best deal that's out there. And you know what? It's probably going to be a Ford. You're not going to be venturing into the market of the electric vehicle. That's what, instead of focusing on rich douchebags in Silicon Valley with their electric vehicles, they should have focused on soccer moms. They should have had an army by this time. 10 years into this, really? About 10 years since the Prius? How long? Maybe a little longer? Whatever. We should be at a stage right now where every soccer mom in America is ferrying kids around in little electric cars. But no, they didn't do that. They went after rich people. They went after the elite. And guess what? Electric vehicles are failing because it hasn't broken through into the mainstream. Oh, yeah, you have an eccentric cousin who drives a whatever. That's fine. It's not everybody. I can't. My next car, I'm not going to be able to get an electric car. I'd love to be able to get an electric car. That'd be cool. But no, they're not making it for people who are trying to buy reasonable cars. Most people, not most people, I shouldn't say most people, but a whole lot of Americans, when it comes time for them to buy a car, they don't get to just buy their dream car. Okay? They don't get to just go, I really want that new Lexus Roadster. They don't get to do that. Most people, when they are buying their next car, they have to look online. They're looking for deals. They're going to get a color that they don't even particularly love because it's going to save them $1,000. That's the car buyer market that electric vehicles should have gone after, but they didn't. They didn't go after that market. They went after the rich people. And now we've got Ford. Ford is now cutting back on their EV. China, EV sales in China are like half of what they expected. The world is not embracing the electric vehicle, and it has nothing to do with the fact that they don't look cool, because they do. It has to do with the fact that they're seen as something the average person cannot afford, or they don't seem dependable enough for the average person, because that's the other thing. Even if you can't afford it, suddenly what, it's going to be in the shop now every 8 weeks? Come on. So what is he doing? So Elon's making a roadster. He wants a roadster that's going to compete with the Ferrari market, the Lamborghini market. That's what he's doing. And he's been promising this stupid electric Tesla roadster for years, and there's been very little progress on it. But now, today, for some reason, he announced that Elon Musk claims the new Tesla roadster hit 60 miles per hour in less than a second. He just tweets that. He just tweets it. Hey, my new Tesla Roadster, which, by the way, I'm sure everybody on Wall Street is like, what? Is this true? Really? If this is true, this is a game changer in the automobile market. He claims his Roadster goes 0 to 60 in less than a second. You realize that's a world record. You realize here, I've actually got this. I pulled this up because I want to show you what he's saying about what kind of power plant has he created that is going to create that level of. Hold on. We got a list here. We'll go through the fastest cars on the planet, the fastest production cars on the planet, and what they go 0 to 60 in. Honestly, I think the fastest one on the planet goes 0 to 61.4. Elon is claiming that this new Roadster, by the way, a much maligned Roadster too. People have been like, this is taking too long. It's not working. The bloom is off the rose as far as the electric vehicle market goes, at least in February of 2024 it is. So what's he trying to do? He's just going to put a tweet out there going, hey, yeah, by the way, here's not for nothing. My electric Roadster goes 0 to 60 in less than a second. Angers me. It just angers me. Because he's going to make money. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you some of these cars. Remember, he is claiming that his new Roadster, the new Tesla electric Roadster, goes 0 to 60 in less than a second. All right, so here you go. So here, these are the fastest accelerating cars on the planet. This is the Radical RXC GT. It goes 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. It's his new Roadster, his new mythical Roadster that's electric, goes 3 times faster than this. How about the Porsche 911 Turbo? Okay, goes 2.7, 0 to 62. 2.7 seconds for this. I've never seen this car before, but that's pretty fast. How about, look at this. What's a Hennessy Venom? You ever heard of this? 2.6 seconds, 0 to 60. Where's the fastest ones? Come on, they go faster. Come on, 2.4. What's that? A Bugatti Ultima. That thing looks like it's a spaceship. Oh, is this the Tesla? Did they put this in here? Tesla Model S Plaid. Okay, so he's got 0 to 60 in 1.9 on a Tesla. So how's he going to shave 1.9? Hold on. I can't get this damn stupid box away. This car is awesome. All right, whatever. We'll stop. Let's take a look at this car that he says is going to go 0 to 60 in 1 second. It doesn't even look super cool. Like it looks like a Tesla. It doesn't look like a supercar. Here it is. All right. And then I'll read you the story about what he claims and what the experts are saying. Uh-oh. What just happens? There we go. Boop. All right, so there it is. Elon Musk claims the new Tesla Roadster hit 60 miles per hour in less than 1 second. He says the reveal is happening this year with deliveries to start in 2025. He also includes how you can buy the car now, even though it's not a thing. Let's see here. November of 2017. That's when Tesla unveiled the second generation Roadster. Fast forward to February of 2024, the electric sports car is still a no-show on the market. But if we're to believe Tesla Supremo Elon Musk, the wait is almost over. The controversial CEO took his X, formerly Twitter, social media platform to talk about the long overdue performance EV. If there's one executive in the automotive business who knows how to hype up a product, it's certainly Musk. He made some rather bold statements to advertise the new Roadster, saying there will never be another car like this, if you could even call it a car. Tesla's head honcho also noted, I think it has a shot at being the most mind-blowing product demo of all time. Oh, he adds, and apparently it will hit 60 miles per hour in less than 1 second. And that's the tweet. That's like the little egg that he leaves at the end. And he couches it with, oh, and apparently. You can't just say, oh, why is that ad popped up there? I hate that. You can't just say that. I mean, it's a nice looking car. It ain't going 0 to 60 in under a second. Do you know how fast that is? Do you know how light that car would have to be? There's no way an electric car is that light. Electric cars are not light. All right, there you have it. Anyway, that's why Elon Musk is trending. He's out there making outlandish claims on Twitter, probably just to drive the stock price up. And I have no idea how that's not illegal, but okay. The rich get richer. Fine, whatever. If it's not illegal, good for him. Seems like it should be. Really seems like it should be. Congratulations. We've got a new oldest American, and they're right here in Texas. That's right, 114 years old. That's currently the asking price on the oldest person. Let's find out about this lady. She's from Houston. It's interesting too. They list the other oldest people. Ain't no white Europeans. I got white European DNA running through me, and we don't seem to last to these. You know who? Latinos and Asians, man, all across the globe. This list, I'm going to give you a list of all these people who are still the oldest. Latinos and Asians, not the white man, not us. Following the death of 116-year-old Edie Cesarella in Northern California, a 114-year-old woman in Houston, Texas, has become the oldest living American. Ladies and gentlemen, Please welcome Houston resident Elizabeth Francis. She's now the country's oldest documented living person. She's 114 years, 7 months, 2 days. 3 days now. Edie, okay, so now I'm watching video of like the other oldest lady. She does not look that bad. Holy crap. 114. Oh, that's the one who died. The one who died did not look bad. 116 years old. I wouldn't put her a day over 80. Seriously, no joke. In the genealogy research group's rankings, Francis, this is the woman in Houston who's now the oldest American. Francis is the oldest. That's pretty cool. She's the oldest American. Has she experienced more of America than anyone else? Like is she the oldest living American, or is she the oldest American to have lived? What's the all-time record for an American? Because that's pretty cool. Because she's like, that makes her way more American than you. In the genealogy research group rankings, Francis is the 5th oldest living person in the world. She's surpassed by Juan Vincent Perez Mora. He's down in Venezuela. He's 114. Then you got Ina Canabararo. They're in Brazil. They're 115. Then we got Tomika Atuka in Japan. They're 115. And then you've got Maria Brañas Moyera. She's in Spain. She's 116. Apparently, she's the oldest one. She's the oldest one. Oh, isn't that interesting? The oldest woman alive right now, man. She's like the goat of life. The oldest woman alive right now, 116 years old. She's older than the woman who just died. The woman in Northern California. She's older than her. I don't know why I'm blown away. That makes sense. She's still okay, never mind. They were alive at the same time. She was older than her, and the younger one died. I need to just wrap this up for today, I'm thinking. I am a little bit sketchy. I don't know why I was thinking that. All right, there you go. Houston, Texas, home to the oldest American, 114 years, 7 months. Good for her. Cool. Let's see here. Oh, this is interesting. So this is a study out of the UK, but it concerns vaping. Apparently, vaping is very popular in the UK. Vaping's very popular here. You see it all the time. Young people, that's all they do now. They vape. I'd say it all the time. You never see anyone smoking a cigarette. Anyway, so this study in the UK about vaping, and by the way, in the UK, I think they smoke even more than Americans. Like if you were to go back to like 1985, right? I think that if you were to drop yourself in London or then just drop yourself in Cleveland, just like American city of London, I think there way more people in England smoked. They seem like they always smoke, like people in England. Anyway, moving on. Same with like Asians, like Thailand. Like I don't know where they get their cigarettes from, but they seem to always have cigarettes. Like you see like people living in huts in Thailand, they always got cigarettes. Point is this, vaping is an innovation in the delivery of nicotine, right? Why did this innovation come to be? Because smoking was dangerous, because you're just blowing up toxins and, doing that whole thing. Smoking's dangerous. Cancer, people were dying. We knew this, but we were addicted to nicotine and very short-sighted. Most people, very short-sighted. Yeah, I'll tell you, there are a lot of people who are lifelong smokers stopped smoking in the 90s. Like when it became like just so obvious that the times had changed and like you just got it. Those people, kudos to those people. My mom is one of those people. My mom, when I was younger, she smoked. And then she just got to like a point in her life where she was like, yeah, this is completely stupid. And I don't know why I do it. And, culturally, I understand how it started, but now it's time to stop. A lot of people did that. And those people did it like without Nicorette gum or without vaping or without, that kind of stuff. They just went cold turkey. Most people, when vaping became popular, and probably the reason that it is so popular is because it was a transition device for a lot of people. A lot of people first started vaping because they wanted desperately to stop smoking. And this was sort of a bridge thing. But then what began to happen was And Juul, the company Juul, and the troubles that they've had, well documented. You can Google search that stuff. The troubles that Juul had sort of clouded, I think, the average person's perception of what vaping is and whether or not it's dangerous and whether or not it's. So in England, the what is it, the National Health Board or something they call it there, they did this big study about people's perceptions about vaping. And they were horrified to find the results. Now, why do people have the wrong? This is a government organization, a government health organization with a bunch of doctors who know the actual numbers. And they decided to go out and see if the regular people on the street truly understand the difference between vaping and smoking cigarettes. So, and they were horrified by what they found. Why? Because for years, tobacco or big tobacco has been propping up misinformation about vaping. And a lot of people think vaping is more dangerous than cigarette smoking. And that's one of the things that horrified these doctors in England, because it's absolutely not more dangerous than cigarette smoking. It's 70% less dangerous than cigarette smoking, but people are all confused about it. So here's the study. Here's what they found in the BBC, or from the BBC. Fewer smokers in England now see vaping as less harmful than cigarettes. Despite evidence tobacco is far worse for health and e-cigarettes can help you quit. Perceptions are shifting. According to a survey response from more than 28,000 current smokers between 2014 and 2023, the latest round of results found that 57% of people, more than half of people, 57% of people thought vaping was just as harmful as smoking, or more so. NHS, that's what it is, National Health Service. Ideally, people should neither vape nor smoke, the NHS says. Vaping exposes users to far fewer toxins and at much lower levels than smoking cigarettes. Cigarettes release thousands of different chemicals when they burn. Many are poisonous, and up to 70 cause cancer. They also cause other serious illnesses, including lung disease, heart disease, and stroke. Most of the harmful chemicals in tobacco smoke, including tar and carbon monoxide, are not in vape aerosols. But vaping is not risk-free, and the NHS advises non-smokers and young people under the age of 18 not to start. Data published. Okay, so here, the data published in the Journal of the JAMA Network comes from a cancer research UK study funded in 2006. In November of 2014, so this is back 10 years ago. 10 years ago, 44% of smokers thought vaping was less harmful than smoking. 11% thought it was more. 11% thought it was more dangerous. More dangerous. I'm like, I could almost excuse you going, they're both bad. They're equally bad. I can excuse that, but more dangerous. You're going to need to show me the work on that one. How did you get more dangerous? That's a dude who just smokes cigarettes and is tired of people pressuring him to quit. So he's like, it's more dangerous to vape based on nothing. He's just going to say it. 30% thought it was they were equally as harmful, vaping. 15% didn't know. Let's see. But fast forward 10 years, right? So this is now the new data. Only 27% of people thought vaping was less harmful. So it's down from 44. So it was 10 years ago, 44% of people thought vaping was less harmful. Like 44, and that's right. 44% of people were right, but now it's down to 27%. Now, 10 years later, 10 years of misinformation from big tobacco has people going, no, it's more harmful. It's not. 23% of people out there think currently that vaping is more harmful than cigarettes. Okay. Now, that's up from 11. It was 11%. 11% of people back 10 years ago thought vaping was more harmful. Today, 23%. 23, it's doubled. 23% of people. 34% think it's equally harmful. It's not clear what's behind these trends. The study didn't look at that, but stop smoking experts are concerned. One of the researchers, Dr. Sarah Jackson from the University College of London, said these findings have important implications for public health. The risks of vaping are much lower than the risks of smoking, and this isn't being clearly communicated to people. This misperception is a health risk in and of itself, as it may discourage smokers from subsequently reducing their harm by switching to e-cigarettes. It may also encourage some young people who use e-cigarettes to take up smoking for the first time because they believe it's the same harm. All right, there you go. I mean, I don't like either. I've never been a nicotine guy, really. I mean, I'm chewing tobacco. I guess that's different. Boy, look at me, right? So I was never a smoker. Weed, like that's the closest I came to smoking. And yeah, I do prefer like vaped weed. That I think is an innovation that's good and legal here in Texas. Dune 2, the new Dune 2 movie. They're saying this is now going to be the movie that's going to save Hollywood. Remember when it was Barbie and Oppenheimer? Well, now it's Dune 2. Ticket sales at the box office this weekend. It's opening this weekend. Dune 2. Ticket sales at the box office this weekend will be flowing as freely as spice. Ha! That's spice! It's a Dune reference. Spice on the desert plains of Arrakis. Director Denis Villeneuve, his big budget sequel, Dune Part 2, where spice is an all-powerful commodity, is targeting $70 million to $80 million in its opening weekend. Warner Brothers, the studio behind the sci-fi epic, is conservatively projecting $65 million. Whatever. At the international box office, the follow-up to Dune is projected to collect $80 million. Anyway, they're talking about how they need it to be huge because if not, they're just going to burn all the movie theaters down. Because they're like, this is a big test for the box office. Can Hollywood still do big film openings and pack them? And we'll see. I think more people would see Dune 2 if they just put it up on, Amazon this weekend, but they're going to make us put shoes on and get in the car and drive to a movie theater and wait in line and be around gross people and then have them talking and not be able to pause. And when I go to the bathroom, I got to come back and go, what did I miss? You're asking a lot, Hollywood. You've gotten us accustomed to laying around naked, watching TV and pausing it and, doing whatever. Here you go. Speaking of doing whatever, here's a little video that I'll share with you folks. You fine folks today. This comes to us from our friends on the West Coast. This is Venice Beach. You ever been to Venice Beach? I went to Venice Beach once just because I wanted to be able to say I went to Venice Beach, and I saw it and I was like, yeah, it's kind of skanky. The Hollywood imaging of Venice Beach it's wild, man. It's crazy. It's where all the fun, interesting, eccentric people of California. Now, it's where all like the dirtiest, skankiest, junky needle lovers are. It's gross. Venice Beach. I was not impressed. You know what I liked? I liked Santa Monica. That's I know it's right there, but I like the pier, the pier, but the other area, California, Southern California beaches are a little bit overrated. I think Hollywood has kind of lied to us. Point is this, there was an incident on Venice Beach yesterday, and oh my God, let's just watch it. We'll just watch. It's a naked woman. There's a naked woman on the beach, and she gets into a fight with another woman, a fully clothed woman, and they have bats and they're fighting with bats. And I believe the bats also have like spikes in them, like, like bats with spikes. So that's fun. All right. So let's show you that. We'll watch. Oh, incidentally too. And this is very rare. Hold on. This is very rare. I told you there is a woman, there is a naked woman, and then there is a, hold on. All right, hold on. Oh, sorry. TMZ. It's off TMZ, so they're going to make us watch a TMZ
When you sweep
commercial.
a baby under the rug, you see the baby.
All right, here we go. All right.
Let's go.
Now, here's the thing I wanted to point out that I found interesting, which is, never the case. You've got a woman who's naked and you've got a woman wearing clothes, and they are fighting. And I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, when you have a woman who is naked and a woman in clothes, the woman who is naked is the one you wished were in clothes, and the one that was in clothes is the one that you wish was naked. No, this is the one you'd want to be naked appears to be naked. This woman seems to have a rockin' body for a crazy naked person, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, here you go. They're fighting on the boardwalk. Nobody knows what this is about, but let's enjoy.
Let go! Let go!
Oh my God.
California. This is the skankiest beach in America. Look at this. People just filming. Look at her doing a dance.
This is the shit we deal with out here.
Oh,
on this boardwalk.
first of all, okay, let's watch that again. Her hands, she cracks her hands with a bat. Do you know how much that hurts? Those fingers are broken. This girl is on something. This girl is tweaking hard, so she didn't feel it. But holy shit, she's got broken fingers. Look, here it comes right here. Ow! God! Ugh! And then she throws the spiky bat at her. Uh-oh, now naked chick's got the weapon. Why would you throw the weapon? Why would you throw the weapon to the crazy naked person?
My God.
And where are the police, by the way? Oh, now they both have weapons. Okay, here we go. Now they're going at it. Man, naked chick is just dominating this.
We are out of here. This is crazy, y'all.
She's gonna chase her away.
I am
Now she's
fucking-
talking to this dude. She's gonna... I mean, she looks hot, man. I'm sorry that, okay, crazy people can be hot too, I guess. And she picked up her clothes and she went away, and that's just America. Ain't that America? That's awesome. That is awesome. I need to know more about her. She's on drugs. That is somebody who is tripping balls or something is going on there. She just picks up her clothes. The way she was moving, that was fun. I need to know what the beef was, though. I mean, it could be anything. Because if you're a crazy person on drugs, you could bump into somebody. I mean, the beef could be you started it. I'm pretty sure that you did something. Now, whether or not the response that elevated to the stick fight, it was like Negan from Walking Dead. They're like walking around with spiked bats on the boardwalk at Venice Beach. One of them's a hot chick and she's naked. That's a great story. All right. Venice Beach. Craziness. What else we got? Andy Cohen's in trouble again. Andy Cohen, we talked about him. We talked about Andy Cohen, and I think it was some old Playboy chick was suing him. Andy Cohen, Bravo. He's like an executive at Bravo, but now he's like the brand Bravo. He's like the face. He's like the guy. He does all the Real Housewives stuff. So Brandi Glanville, that's who it was. Brandi Glanville, she's the old Playboy chick. Brandi Glanville last week sued Andy Cohen, saying that he sexually harassed her, even though he's gay. But okay, whatever. I guess there are no rules. He's gay. He sexually harassed her and introduced her or offered her drugs and all kinds of things. Okay, so that was the story then. But now we got a new story. We've got another one. Leah McSweeney. Apparently, Leah McSweeney is another one of these disgruntled housewives. And let me tell you, haven't seen a whole lot of the housewife stuff. I watched for a couple of years. I'm familiar with the concept. These are some bad women. These women are not the kind of women that you want to get on their bad side. They have nothing but time on their hands. They don't got jobs. They don't do things. If they decide that they're going to ruin your life, they will ruin your life. So he's got one after him. Now he's got multiple. He's got multiples. Completely false, Andy Cohen says. Andy Cohen refutes cocaine and booze-drenched lawsuit from Leah McSweeney. Now, it would be helpful if I was familiar with Leah McSweeney. I don't know who she is, what her character type is on The Real Housewives. I don't know if she's the drunk, fall down, troublemaker housewife. I don't know if she's the smart, everyone cries on her shoulder, compassionate housewife. I don't know which one she is. If I did, it might, inform me a bit better on this. But she's come forward and she's saying that Andy Cohen was like he threw orgies and sex parties and cocaine and all that stuff, and if you didn't participate, you didn't get good cuts on the housewives. What that means is when they go into the editing, you wouldn't get good scenes because you didn't participate in the cocaine parties with Andy. Real Housewives kingpin Andy Cohen has faced a number of accusations and unsavory allegations of late, but a cocaine-fueled favoritism and booze bullying lawsuit today from Leah McSweeney has truly raised his ire. Defendant Cohen's proclivity for cocaine uses with his employees is well known throughout the Real Housewives franchise. Is that true? I don't know. That's what McSweeney says. McSweeney's complaint alleges against the producer and host, whom she calls the Real Housewives omnificent ringleader. Omnificent. She didn't use the word omnificent. There's no way that a housewife is using casually in conversation omnificent. Anyway, everybody's getting these things. You know, what do I think? I think Andy Cohen's probably a party boy. I think he seems like a party boy. He also seems like a very competent television executive who created and then popularized a format of the reality TV genre that has changed the game. Before Real Housewives type stuff came around, reality TV was getting boring. They didn't know what they were doing with it. My God, it had turned into obstacle courses over like swimming pools, right? That's what reality, they were like, we don't know where to go now. And all of a sudden, you know, they reinvented it with this Real Housewives stuff. Rocket fuel to the genre of reality TV. That's Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen's probably also a guy who likes all kinds of weird, silly sex and does all kinds of crazy things with people. And he probably likes drugs and cocaine and all. Well, I mean, that's kind of clear, or at least becoming clear with all of these different. See, two things. People are complicated. He's really good at his job, and he does some things that, you know, he probably would prefer to stay behind closed doors. You know, the way it was for people until about 10 years ago. That's it for Andy Cohen. What else do we got? Oh, somebody equally as big and important as Andy Cohen. Christian Horner. Told you about Christian Horner yesterday. No, 2 days ago we told you about Christian Horner. Christian Horner is probably the most important man in F1, which is one of the most profitable sports in the world and certainly one of the buzziest sports happening right now. Of course, with Netflix releasing their new season of Drive to Survive. Christian Horner, of course, one of the main stars of Drive to Survive. Christian Horner is the boss. Christian Horner's a dude who in like 5 years, we're going to have to start calling him Sir Christian Horner, right? He's one of those dudes. He's in charge of Red Bull Racing. He's married to a Spice Girl. He lives on a big English manor. He's got, you know, thousands and thousands of acres. He's a very, very prime and proper English gentleman. He's cool. And he runs Red Bull, and Red Bull is a very, very dominant team. It's basically like what the Kansas City Chiefs are to football right now. That's what Red Bull is in F1. And Christian Horner is the boss. He's sort of a combination general manager and head coach. That would be his business. In the sport of F1, it's called team principal. So he is the team principal of Red Bull, which is a very high profile job. And again, as I said, he's married to a Spice Girl. That's very interesting. He's got a lovely family. He's handsome. You know, he's handsome. He's got that. So he was accused of doing a little grab ass. Some people said, I don't like the way Christian Horner runs the team and he touched my butt or whatever it was. I'm not even sure, but it had been whispered about the last quarter of the last F1 season. People were like, oh, Christian Horner, there's an investigation into Christian Horner. Somebody said that he was sexually harassing them and blah, blah. So whatever. So that all happened. In the investigation, here we are on the eve of the new season. The new season begins now, right? The players are already doing it's so all the big news and nothing was resolved about the Christian Horner investigation. So 2 days ago, Ford, who provides the engines for F1, Ford came out and made a big deal. They said, give us a decision on Christian Horner because we here at Ford, we can't be in business with him if this is all true and blah, blah, blah. And so that was a big deal. And essentially the investigation was being forced by Ford, another big player. So the investigation came out and Christian Horner has been 100% cleared of all misdoings. Of course. Do you know how important he is? He's like a multi-billion-dollar team that he's in charge. It's just like being in charge of a football team or a Premier League team. Anyway, there you have it. That's the Christian Horner news. I like him. I like Christian Horner. I am not a Red Bull guy. If we're going to talk a little bit about my F1 allegiances. I'm not a Red Bull guy. I appreciate them. I've long been a fan of McLaren, although I'm starting to be a little bit less of a McLaren guy. I might be moving into Ferrari. I might become a fan of Ferrari. I don't know. Porsche is going to be launching a team. I might, from the ground up, I might just become a Porsche fan. I'm a fan of AlphaTauri. These are my teams. So I'm not a Red Bull guy. I'm not a front runner. Being a fan of Red Bull is like being a fan of, it's like deciding I'm going to be a football fan and my favorite team is the Chiefs, right? Don't be a front runner. But Christian Horner, I love Christian Horner. I think he's cool. I think his Spice Girl wife is cool. Jerry Halliwell, is that her name? She's cool. She's always there. Anyway, that's it. Christian Horner, I don't know. I'd like Red Bull to not be as good. So if he's going to lose, here's the thing. If Christian Horner's going to lose his job, I want him to lose his job because Max Verstappen stops winning races. I don't want him to lose his job because somebody in the office said that he touched their button. Now all of a sudden you've got to upend this juggernaut of a racing team. There you go. And it wasn't really all that, like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like it was it was a hug that lasted too long or something. I don't know. But yes, let's end the man's career. Let's upend the juggernaut that is Red Bull. God, it sounds so callous. It does. And I hate the cynicism that I now have to apply to almost every instance of a sexual harassment charge. It is not fair to not go in without cynicism. You have to be like, okay, what's the motivation of the person bringing this charge? And what is the likelihood that this person, I'm a good judge of character. I look at people, I could say, yeah, that dude grabbed her ass. That dude's totally like that. Look at the way he carries himself. He's absolutely that kind of dude. Other people, not so much. Women, a lot of times, you'll see somebody and they'll be like, he did this, he did that. And you're like, oh, you're a crazy chick. You probably make all kinds of threats against guys when they break up with you. That's what you seem like. Not across the board. Certainly not across the board. There's a lot of bad guys doing a lot of bad things to a lot of innocent women. There's also a lot of bad women doing awful things. Probably not so innocent men. But anyway, the world is complicated. You got to take them all one at a time. I just never thought Christian Horner was that big of a deal. And I was a little bit, the charges against him, I should say, I never thought were that big of a deal. And I was upset when Ford came forward. And I'm not even a Christian Horner fan. All right, I got nothing else to say. Can you tell I'm running out of steam? Let's see here. The guy who wrote, yeah, you're talking about the people on the video. We were watching video of that situation. I got to find out more about that. I'm going to do a deep dive. I'm going to try and figure out, because there's got to be a local story. There's got to be some sort of hashtag. There's got to be something. I bet you I can find something. I'm going to find out why that girl was naked. Although I think I know. Drugs, probably the reason. Join me today at 3:30. I'll be doing my entertainment report with James Parker on his show, WBAP. I'll only do entertainment. I'm like, dude, I'll come on your show, but we're only doing entertainment topics. That's it. And he's been awesome with that so far, so I appreciate it. What are we going to talk about today? I got to find some stories. I got to find some entertainment world story. Oh, maybe we'll talk about the Don Henley stuff. Ooh, we'll bring that up. That'll be good from yesterday. Elon Musk claiming his car will go 0 to 60. I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to put all that together. I got a bunch of stuff to do. All right, guys, we're going to wrap the show up. It's done. We're over with. I love you. We'll see you tomorrow back here at noon, right? The high noon rant, 2 hours, stream of consciousness, just me, no filter, no governor, no nothing, just hot topics, opinions, and you in the chat room. I appreciate you, but honestly, I don't know what else to say.